I got my Ford gear back on. We're talking Ford stock. Can the stock go from 0 to 60 in less than 2 years' time? Right now, it's been on a roll. If you asked me about 5 years ago, I knew very limited about cars, about trucks, about diesel engines. But a couple of years back, I started picking up a lot of trucking clients, heavy equipment repair shops. I'm a web developer during the day, and I was setting up all their online presence. I was doing write-ups, and I was learning about this stuff. And I got to meet the people behind it. You know, they're always covered in grease. They look like they just got out of a coal mine. Their forearms are the size of my quads. And I was like, this is real men, not scrawny people like me in front of the computer screen. And so I started diving deep into trucks, diesel stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And over the past couple of years, I've been combining that with my passion for the stock market. And so I've been researching and watching Ford for a while. And then finally I went in and I plowed in, and it's paid off. And the reason I talk about the gains being over 100% is not so much to boast. It's more to just prove a point that you don't have to be invested in these small street crypto or micro cap penny stocks to see hundreds of percentage points in return. If you do your due diligence, if you know fundamentals, you know technicals, if you have a thesis in place, if you're patient and buy stocks when they're at a really low price and you feel like this is the timing is just right and a little bit of luck on your side, and you can get those hundreds of percentage points in gain in just a few months, just like some of these cryptos. And so before we jump into the Ford F-150 all-electric vehicle that's changing the game for Ford, I want to mention I'm a huge fan of Jim Farley, the CEO. If you haven't seen my other videos, go take a look at my Ford videos. I'm also a huge proponent of American-made companies. I think that they're going to bode well, especially with the nonsense going on with China and all these various companies around the world. I think that American-made, like Intel, Ford, I think they're positioned to really take over, especially the ones that control their supply chain, that don't depend so much on Asia to get all their parts. And as far as the chip shortage, Ford has done a really respectable job when it comes to navigating the chip shortage. As we'll talk about in a bit, their deliveries are on point and they haven't suffered much, and they're planning to double their capacity because of the demand. Let's talk about Ford and their golden goose, the Ford F-150 Lightning. This is a beast of a car. I'm going to cover the specs in a second, but I just want to say, if you don't know what it is, navigate to the Ford site. I have it in the description. Take a look. This is really an impressive vehicle, and they're going to be pushing it hard in 2022, 2023. Again, they're doubling capacity. And the one thing I want to point out that no one's talking about is the price. The 2022 Rivian R1T, it starts at around $70,000. The 2022 GMC Hummer EV, it starts at around $110,000 for that pickup. That's crazy. Whereas the Ford F-150 Lightning Pro, it starts at around only $40,000. The XLT is at around $52,000. And then it goes all the way up to the Platinum, which starts at like $90,000. But this is still priced much cheaper than its competitors, at least at the moment. And this is going to bode really well for the amount that are going to be bought. Remember, the F-150, not the electric, but the regular F-150, has been the best-selling truck and the best-selling vehicle in America for over 40 years. This is huge. This is a huge thing that they're going electric and making it an all-electric version of the F-150. Now, the specs in this thing are insane. It goes to 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. It has the most targeted torque of any F-150. It can power a house for 3 days. And that's bananas. Like, if there's a power outage, you can literally power your house for 3 days with your car. It has about a dozen plugs to keep any mobile business running. So you can run a power saw and a blender, a computer, and just a whole ton of things, anything you need. If you see those hot dog stands, or you serve tacos out of a truck and that's your business, you can just plug that into your F-150 and it's going to power your business. That's huge. I'm a huge fan of the Ford Pass. This is basically an app that you could use for a charging network. And the Ford Pass, I downloaded it, I took a look at it. On the Android store, it's a 4.1 out of 5. And on the iPhone, it is a 4.6 on the Apple Store. This is huge because you have to look into these apps and the reviews to really see if they're quality, and people love Ford Pass. Now, the front trunk, really innovative. Basically, it holds 400 liters of storage or 400 pounds. It has a 15.5 inch touchscreen that's basically like your average laptop, just flipped vertically. It's got a really sleek design. The software updates, they have the capability to basically wirelessly update and enhance the features of the truck. The max towing goes up to 10,000 pounds. It has 100% charging overnight, which is super helpful. Remember, EVs, they can be annoying if you're traveling across the country, but if you're just local, EVs are great. It has a targeted EPA estimate of 300 miles of range. And as I mentioned before, Ford announced plans to double their production capacity to 150,000 vehicles per year by 2023. This is big numbers. This is going to mean very good things for the top and the bottom line of Ford. Okay, so let's take a look at the technicals of Ford Motor Company. So I like to keep this rather simple, but I want to point something out. So if you take a look here, you can see that between November and around December 31st of 2021, Ford's price was trading between $19 and basically $21 in this channel here. Now it has recently broke out quite a bit, hitting a high of pretty much $25. However, the history might be a great predictor of what's going to happen in the future, and so I wanted you to take a look at what happened when Ford recently broke out to new highs. So if we take a look here, towards the end of May, you could see that this resistance line broke, right? And then as Ford ran up, it ran all the way to about $16.25, and then what happened? It slowly fizzled out. And where this was a resistance during this time period, now it became a support line. And so at around $13 was the support line where it used to be a resistance line. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells me that over here, if Ford starts to fizzle, so everyone got excited about this EV lineup, we're going to cover all that in a second, but if this starts to fizzle, I do believe that it's going to hit a support line at around $21, maybe $20.50. I would not be surprised if this ran up past $27.50 in the next couple of months. Right now, this is uncharted territory. And so right now, no support lines, no resistance lines are formed, and it can kind of keep climbing. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of catalysts behind Ford going into 2022. Everyone's excited about their lineup. And so we shall see what's in store for Ford very, very soon as the future unfolds. Now, I want you to take a look here because this is really impressive. If you invested in Ford a year ago, you're sitting at 167.65% gains. That is quite a lot for a company like Ford that was considered a mature company. They've been around forever. The market cap now is close to 100 billion and the PE ratio is 33.57. Now, just about 8 months ago, a year ago, this was sitting at below 10. And so currently, I think there's a lot of buzz behind Ford. It's driving up the prices, but some of the fundamentals, they're starting to not look as appealing. However, if Ford really does deliver and execute on its game plan the way that it should and is expected to, I think that these fundamental values are still at a discount. And so if we take a look here, the quarterlies and annual, it's nothing to write home about. As you can see here, like 2020, it's even less than 2019, 2018. The quarterlies, I mean, it's pretty flat. There was a disappointing June, but remember, we were in the heat of the pandemic. Aside from that, the chip shortage really affected the automakers. However, Ford handled the chip shortage rather admirably. I want to point you to Barron's article today where Ford recently announced that it delivered 173,740 vehicles in the US in December and over 508,000 vehicles in the fourth quarter. December sales dropped 17% year over year, but fourth quarter sales dipped less than 10% from the year ago quarter. If we take a look at GM, you will see that compared to the rest of the industry, Ford's results were actually rather good. GM's fourth quarter deliveries dipped 43% to 140,750 vehicles. GM's full year sales drop, however, was about 13%. GM delivered about 2.2 million vehicles in the US this past year. Ford, for all of 2021, delivered about 1.9 million vehicles in the US, about 7% fewer cars than 2020. But again, this just goes to show that a lot of the buzz about Ford is for its future potential. People are so excited with what's about to happen in the lineup, and I'll cover it in just a second. Now, this part's important because already Ford is establishing itself as a small rival to Tesla. You could see right here in a CNBC article, they say that Ford beat out GM to become the country's second best-selling automaker of all electric vehicles behind Tesla. Ford sold 27,140 of its Mustang Mach-E EVs, eclipsing the 24,828 sales total of GM's Chevrolet Bolt EV models and one Hummer EV in 2021. Both are minuscule compared with Tesla, which doesn't report US sales, but said it delivered a record 936,172 EVs globally last year. And so if we take a look at Ford's lineup for 2022, it is very, very impressive. You could see this by going to Ford.com. Their website's amazing. They go into great detail if you click on any of these cars. But I want to show you their EV lineup. And I want you to pay attention to where it says hybrid, hybrid standard, plug-in hybrid, all electric. Right now, I want you to focus on the all-electric. The 2022 Mustang Mach-E has been well received. It's selling well. But what we're really going to talk about is the all-electric 2022 F-150 Lightning. This is the golden goose for Ford. This is going to dictate Ford's success. I wholeheartedly believe that. And so the hybrids, they're doing well. The 2022 e-Transit, a lot of businesses are going to be buying this up. And so I love this lineup. I think it is the strongest lineup, maybe to only rival Tesla, but I love how diverse these cars are. And of course, they offer cars that aren't just all electric, plug-in hybrid, standard. And although this isn't the greatest thing for them to compete with companies that only do EVs, it is still something that is a competitive advantage. The fact that they have this unique lineup that's very diverse in what they're offering, and all of their cars, they do rather well. And remember, with every successive year, they're planning to dive deeper and deeper into EVs. I sincerely believe that in a couple of years, they will be a legit rival to Tesla. And over here, I just want to point out some recent articles, including Ford Mustang Mach-E's converted to taxis, enter New York City taxi service. New York City buys 184 Ford Mustang Mach-E GT police cars for $11.4 million. Now, the New York City police can roll up on you and give you needless speeding tickets and parking tickets in style. And actually, as I read a little bit further into this, it looks like it's not going to be the traffic police. It will be the Department of Environmental Protection and various other local agencies that are connected to the NYPD. However, New York City runs the largest municipal fleet in the country at around 30,000. And this is important to point out because if this goes well and they like what they're seeing with these EVs from Ford, then they might go ahead and purchase a lot more. Again, they have 30,000 fleet. So if they start going EV, this will be really big for Ford. Okay, so I want to show you my exact trade. I showed that a couple of months ago I was able to scoop up Ford for a price of $11.41, and currently I'm sitting at over 107% profit. And the reason I'm showing this is to show that you don't need to be invested in crypto or these penny stocks in order to see 3-digit percentage growth within a few months. If you make the right calls, you scoop it up at the right time. And so as you see here, I have 900 shares. I'm up over 11 grand, and the total value now exceeds 21,290. And what my plan is I do have a stop order in place. Now, I don't want to have my profits dwindle to nothing. When I'm up over 100 percentage points, I have some margin for how much pain I'm willing to go through. So my pain threshold is pretty high on Ford because I'm a believer it's going to go much higher than it is today this year. However, if for whatever reason the price starts fizzling out, dwindling down, my stop loss order will get triggered to ensure that I'm locking in profits. I really hope that Ford continues its run. If you're invested in Ford, congratulations, especially if you're just in it in the past couple of years. You're clearly sitting at all-time highs for yourself in your portfolio, and that's great. If you did it because of fundamental analysis or you just got lucky, who cares? You're in it. Learn as much as you can, absorb all the knowledge you can, learn fundamentals, learn technical analysis so that you can become a better trader. Let me know in the comments section if you enjoyed this video, which stock you want me to cover next, which crypto you want me to cover next, which options trading strategy. Are you a fan of Ford? How high do you think it's going to go? Do you think the price is going to fizzle? What do you think is going to happen this year? I'm so excited. The stock market is starting off with a bang as far as the excitement, the ups and downs, and I'm just really looking forward to covering the insanity that's ahead this year, because with interest rate hikes, with inflation fears, it's going to get pretty bananas, and I'll be right here alongside with you guys on the ride. I'll see you guys in the next video.